I'm just relaxing in the early morning sunlight here in Southeast Asia in northern Thailand. I'm very, very lucky to have escaped the English winter just for a little while and come here to Pai, which is a sleepy town in northern Thailand, a few hours drive away from Chiang Mai. And it's just a really nice morning. The weather forecast was a little bit cloudy today, but it's just a kind of hazy early morning warmth of sunlight, which is, I'm still wearing a jumper, but I'm just kind of getting hot already, and it's not late, so this is wonderful. I think it's going to be better than expected today, and it's a lovely warmth already. It's warming the bones. So this is Zestology, the podcast all about energy, vitality and motivation. I'm Tony Wrighton, feeling particularly grateful just to be away and have a little bit of downtime at the start of the year, because not only is it a chance to relax, but it's also a chance to kind of rediscover that creativity and purpose that I think sometimes gets lost a little bit day to day. Without sounding too high-minded about that, I really do think that the more that you manage to switch off, the more that you manage to discover that purpose and that creativity. And one of the things that I've found has helped me do that on a day-to-day level is meditation. So this is a podcast about meditation. And tomorrow I am heading off to a monastery near the Burmese border called Tam Wa Monastery. T-A-M, Tam, W-A-U, Wa Monastery, near the Burmese border. And yeah, it's kind of weird because you can't book a nice deluxe air-conditioned ensuite room there. You just turn up when you're ready, and the monks very kindly take you in. It's all completely free, although they say if you want to make a donation at the end, then you're very welcome to, and I'm sure that'll be a pleasure to help the monks with their work and to keep the monastery going. And so you turn up, and we're not allowed to share a room. Faith and I aren't allowed to share a room because it's separate rooms. It's all the genders are kept separate. And so I don't know if I'm going to be in a dorm or individually, but essentially this is a meditation retreat, and the monks do speak some English. I don't know how much. That's another thing that I'm going to be finding out in this podcast today. And we go and meditate, and in a moment I'll tell you the schedule of what we do. But it does sound relatively hardcore for someone who, I really like meditation. Meditation has been a big part of the puzzle, and that is why I wanted to record this podcast on meditation today. If you haven't got into meditation yet, it might be something that can help you. I wouldn't say that anything is a catch-all that everyone needs to do, but I have found for me that when I meditate in a little mini way, you get that kind of same burst of creativity, gratitude, purpose and quiet that it's quite hard to discover in everyday life, but you can discover on holiday. So it's another way of discovering those holiday vibes in some ways, I suppose. So that's why I wanted to do the podcast on meditation, and that is why, as well as kind of going on holiday and having a nice time and going on jungle hikes and all the rest of it, it's really nice to do a bit of learning and kind of have a little bit of a purpose to the holiday, not just lounge in a sun lounger for the whole time that I'm here, but actually, go and meet some people and learn some stuff and take some courses or whatever. And this kind of meditation retreat is all part of it. Right, so I know that you would like to know what is going on this retreat and what is the schedule. So gonna have a look. Daily schedule for Wat Pa Tam Wa. By the way, you have to wear white, which does make it sound like a bit of a cult, but I don't think it is. But you have to wear all white. It's going to be ridiculous. 5 o'clock in the morning chanting in your kuti. I don't know what kuti is. I think it might be hut, or it might be clothing. As you can tell, I have no idea what I'm letting myself in for. 6:30. Rice offering to monks. 7 o'clock breakfast. 8 o'clock practice meditation vipassana at main hall. So that's silent meditation. Starts at 8 and goes until 10:30. I've never done a silent meditation that long in my life, just to tell you. 10:30 offering food to monks. 11 o'clock lunch. Right, so lunch is quite early. That's the last meal of the day at 11 o'clock as well. which is completely the wrong way around to the way that I normally have my diet. Normally I'll have a coffee or a bulletproof coffee in the morning, eat at lunch and dinner, but it's going to be different here, isn't it? Then 1 o'clock, guess what? More meditation, quiet meditation until 4 o'clock in the main hall. 4 o'clock, cleaning. Now, I'm going to be honest, cleaning is not my forte, but we clean the monastery. Brackets, while cleaning, be mindful. 5 o'clock, relax time, having coffee/tea. 6 o'clock, evening chanting and meditation. Oh, well, I like a bit of chanting. I think I do like a chant, so that'll be good, at Dharma Hall. 8 o'clock in the evening, practice meditation, Vipassana on your own or in your kuti. And Vipassana is silent meditation, so guess what? 2 more hours of silence before 10 o'clock, sleeping. And it says, Wat Pa Tam Wa Forest Monastery offers spiritual guidance to those wishing to seriously practice meditation in a peaceful and natural monastic setting. So this is what's going on in today's podcast. I am going to head off there and do this thing that I've never done that much meditation at once, even in one sitting. I've never done it for 2 hours silence, let alone 6 to 8 hours of silence a day, chanting the rest of the time, respectful cleaning the rest of the time. I think the cleaning's the bit I'm looking forward to least, to be quite honest. I'm hoping I'm going to learn some stuff. I think it might be tough. I think it might be great fun. As I say, we're not allowed to share rooms. God forbid me and my girlfriend have the same room together. But I don't know if we're sleeping on the floor or on a sheet or something. But I do think that these, from what I've heard, these monks are very kind and they speak a little bit of English, so they can help you through any kind of meditation questions you have. And they run this wonderful kind of retreat for the benefit of Thais and foreigners to come in and learn a little bit more about what they do. So it's going to be fantastic, I think. So this is my last day of freedom before I go to the retreat. So next time you hear from me, I might try and record something when I'm there, but I don't want to be disrespectful to everything that's going on there. So next time you hear from me, you will either hear from me there, or you will hear from me afterwards, and we'll have a debrief, and we'll see what's going on, and whether it was worth it, and whether I would recommend it, or whether I kind of had any profound meditational insights that I could pass on to you. Is meditational a word? I'm not quite sure. Anyway. Right, I'm off to have breakfast, and I'll speak to you soon. Well, as it turns out, I am allowed to record here, and you probably notice I'm speaking in a pretty quiet voice. I don't know if you can kind of hear the wild tropical background sounds. It is absolutely beautiful here, and I'm not going to record very long now. I'll record a full debrief when I leave. Just to say, we're in the middle of it at the moment, and I'm finding it way harder than I thought I would. It has been tough. The meditation, yeah, pretty hard. Everything else that goes with it, I'll let you know in the full debrief. But there's been a lot of quietness, a lot of not doing very much. And in the most beautiful of settings, I anticipate that I'd come here and absolutely love it. I've got to say, it's not quite the case. I'm getting quite a bit out of it, but I can't say I'm necessarily loving it. It's tough, for sure. So I'm just checking in. It has been lovely not checking my phone and not checking the internet and all that kind of thing. Very, very peaceful. Everyone asleep at about 8:30 in the evening. In my dorm, yeah, I'm in a dorm on a very hard floor. More about that in the debrief. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of check in. It is beautifully peaceful here, and it's been pretty tough. But I will speak to you again when we leave. Right. So I'm recording now, and we haven't actually quite broken out yet. We're just about to leave and we're sitting at the kind of gateway, and I wanted to do this really, really quickly before we left, because I think we're going to forget really quickly what's happened.
Yeah.
And girlfriend on podcast alert, me and Faith are recording this bit together. So it's been full of ups and downs, hasn't it?
It's been challenging at times and insightful, I think, about maybe our state of mind. Yeah, coming to this place.
So one of the things I thought we could do is pick a couple of things each that we liked and disliked.
Yeah.
What are the things that you've found helpful about this place? You've either liked it or you've just found it really useful.
Yeah. I mean, one of the first things I would say about this place, and anyone who's maybe thinking about spending some time in a monastery, the setting here is absolutely breathtaking. I mean, I immediately thought of the film Avatar, or even like Jurassic Park. It's got this really kind of otherworldly quality to it, and photos just don't do it justice at all. You've got these huge rock formations on either side, the jungle, and it's just so serene in the grounds itself. And I think just being around that natural beauty, I remember you saying actually on the first day you were finding it hard almost to connect to how stunning it is. I think that has a natural quality to calm you down, just being definitely around that kind of that natural beauty.
So that's the surroundings. What about the experience itself? I mean, it's funny because I think we both thought it would. I don't really know what we thought, but we don't do things by halves, do we? And we wanted to do something. We're both quite interested in meditation and like doing it on a very kind of westernized 10 minutes in the morning kind of way.
For sure.
And I think we both thought it would be a bit of an adventure, but I don't think we quite realised how hardcore it was going to be here.
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of rules. I know we're keeping this on the positive side.
Oh yeah, we're still on the positive
bit. But there is something about if you are able to just surrender to this is the routine, this is what we're doing now. I think you and I both feel like we've been able to drop into the meditation deeper and for longer, because we're talking about, we've been doing walking meditation for, it must be over an hour that we're pacing around the garden all in a line.
And then you come straight back and do an hour of seated meditation.
Yeah, and then probably another half hour of lying down. I've never meditated for that long in one go before, and even though it's a challenge to keep your mind in a meditative state that whole time, I've definitely been able to drop into a longer period of meditation here. So that in itself is incredible.
Yeah, and the whole place is meditative. I mean, even when you're not doing the formal meditations, you're feeding rice to the monks, or you're walking around and not really talking. I mean, you and I aren't allowed to share a room together.
We're not allowed to touch.
No, and we've both basically been. I mean, I don't know what time lights out was out in your room, but in my dorm, and by the way, there were 6 people in my dorm, which I got in there and I was like, oh, this is going to be terrible sleep. But I slept great.
Yeah.
It's quiet and everyone was asleep by 9 o'clock, which never happens at home.
Yeah.
And I was lying on a pretty hard floor with a rug over me, but I've really slept well. So so the whole thing is quite meditative.
Yes. Yeah. It's really incredible because there must be about 150 people here, and everybody's committed to it, aside from a couple of people taking selfies during the walking meditation.
Yeah. Do you think, I mean, the thing is that one of the things that I've really loved about, I didn't know very much about Buddhism before I came, and I still don't really.
Yeah.
But one of the things I've loved is that they are so friendly and likable. And in fact, the abbot in one of his little speeches said, "You can see us as family." And that's true. They're pretty chilled out, to the extent that if someone takes a selfie during a walking meditation, they're not going to do it. They're all right, aren't they? They're just getting on with it themselves. They seem very. There's a remarkable tolerance and kindness about this place, which I think is one of the best things to recommend it to anyone who would want to come.
Yeah,
it's really open-minded, which I suppose would be a reflection of the religion.
Yeah, yes, exactly. There's a kind of, I sort of describe it, there's like a lightness.
Yeah.
A lightness to the other. And he's full of jokes, isn't he, when he's doing his teachings. And
what did you think of the big spider? We saw a big spider on our first day.
We called him Stephen.
It was, how big was it?
It was at least as big as my entire hand when I've, got my hand span as wide as it will go.
And every time we've walked past, he's still been there.
I didn't see him this morning.
He was there.
Was he there?
Yeah.
Still in his spot?
He's got 6.5 legs. And he's absolutely enormous.
And bearing in mind, this is on a route where you're meant to be doing very mindful walking meditation, just focusing on your right foot and your left foot, and there's this enormous spider right in your eye view. I'm quite scared of spiders, but I suppose if you weren't, it'd be okay.
Wow. Still took a couple of pictures of it, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
What were how did you feel about... I'll tell you something that I found really challenging here, and that is... I'm not religious, and whilst, as I've already said, everything about Buddhism and the monks that live here is really charming and kind and open-minded and open-hearted, because I'm not a Buddhist myself, there's quite a large religious element to what we're doing here. Now, people listening to this are probably thinking, you went to a monastery, mate. What did you expect? And they're absolutely right. And yet, the meditation part of it, as we've said, we've loved. The religious aspects of it, I felt very uncomfortable with, because I'm not a Buddhist, and therefore it felt like I was playing at being a Buddhist. Even so much just to say kind of Buddhist tourism, which obviously, the people here at Wat Tam Wah, they've set it up for Westerners to learn a bit more about their practices, so they're comfortable with us coming in, but I still didn't feel comfortable with that aspect of it at all.
I mean, yeah, I would say that's the bit that I've probably struggled with the most. The chanting I found extremely difficult. I'm used to a very westernised kirtan at Tri Yoga in London or whatever, and it's all very tuneful, very repetitive. This was, a good hour of not very tuneful. Is that fair to say?
Well, I think it might have been a tune. It's just we didn't know the tune.
We were sort of guessing,
just guessing
along.
Every note was like, am I getting this right, or am I going one lower, or am I going one higher? And
it's quite, is pious the right words? Like the language and what you're singing about, and
it's very religious language.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you don't have this kind of belief system behind it, it does feel. Like Tony was saying, like just this kind of fakery behind it a little bit, which was difficult for me.
It was difficult for both of us.
Yeah.
That's been the hardest thing, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
It really, I haven't felt comfortable with that at all.
But Buddhism, I have learned an awful lot about Buddhism, like a lot more than I knew prior to coming here. And Buddhism doesn't preach converting people. So I know...
Yeah, that's cool.
Those monks would be completely comfortable with us sat there sort of being a bit confused, trying to chant along, not maybe kind of believing it, and that's okay. Like their doors are completely open for anyone and everyone to kind of come in and see the ritual.
What is one thing? I mean, there's loads of other stuff we could go into. The food, which is basic but fine. It's not the kind of thing I normally eat, but that's okay. And wearing all white. Very briefly, how did you feel about wearing all white?
there was a little bit of hilarity, wasn't there? Because you actually looked like you were ready for open heart surgery in your white scrubs.
I thought I was pretty fetching. Well, the funny thing is, there's no mirrors anywhere around here, so I hadn't seen my reflection for 3 days.
That's been lovely.
And then you took a kind of selfie of us, and I was like, I do look like a slightly unkempt doctor.
It didn't really bother me, actually, the wearing white. It's quite nice to forget about putting an outfit together in the morning and not looking at yourself in the mirror, actually.
Yeah, maybe that part of the whole thing is the fact you have very few decisions to make here.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's so regimented.
Go to bed early, wake up, feed the monks, do a bit of meditation, cheers.
Forget all about, the extras in life and just focus on your meditation. I think that's the point.
To wrap it up, here's a tough question for both of us, and that is, we've struggled here quite a bit, haven't we? More than we thought we would.
Yeah.
And I think we're quite looking forward to re-entering normal life.
Yes.
What does that... I mean, I have done a meditation retreat of sorts before at 40 Years of Zen a year ago, and I didn't struggle. There's a car. I wonder if it's Pin, our friend, coming to pick us up. I have done one before and I didn't struggle. But does it say something about us and our state of mind that we struggled? Or was it all the other stuff apart from the meditation that made us struggle?
Probably a bit of both. I think it's something that you and I will probably talk about quite a lot over the coming days.
Yeah.
I have realised... I
think it might be Pin.
It's Pin! Yay!
All right, I've got to stop recording here and we'll record the last bit later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we sounded really delighted when when Pin's truck turned up. It's now a few days later and we're back in Pai and kind of fully recovered. So Faith, I'll ask you the question again. What do you think you've kind of taken away from it?
So, I mean, I don't think all experiences need to be completely comfortable and easy to be good. And I really feel, and I'm hoping to take this back to London with me, but we'll see. That's going to be the challenge. I certainly feel more present and calm. I don't feel like I'm reacting to things. Maybe
like when I annoy you.
When you beat me at chess for the millionth time. Like, no. So if I could take that feeling back into my life in the city, that would be such a blessing. That's the main thing. Obviously, the meditation aspects of it as well. I've noticed I feel a lot more comfortable sitting for 20 minutes at a time. Then prior to that, it was a struggle to do 10 minutes. So that's probably related to my first point.
Yeah.
But if I can keep that going, that's a profound difference as well. So major things, despite it being a difficult sort of 3 nights. 2 nights. It was 2 nights, wasn't it?
Don't give away our secrets. We were going to stay
3 days.
3 days.
3 days, 2 nights, as we like to say.
We were going to stay 3 days, and then we were like, should we just leave a little bit early?
I've blown our cover.
And I suppose just the other thing I wanted to say was, a renewed focus towards meditation. Amazing how much meditation you can do in 3 days, 2 nights. But also, you and I have both been wearing this Oura ring, which tracks all sorts of things. It tracks your sleep, tracks your heart rate variability, and so on. My heart rate variability, which is one sign of whether your body's kind of working well and operating at a good level, was the highest it's ever been when we were in the monastery. So that's and my heart rate was the lowest, and I slept really well. So I think those are small indicators, but it's data. It's hard data to show that we genuinely, our bodies reacted really well to that. Of course they did. All we were doing all day was wandering around following monks around a big garden. How could we not be totally relaxed?
Yeah.
So for that, I'm very
absolutely.
grateful to them.
There's something to be said for simplifying your routine and doing one thing at a time as well. That's the other thing that I'm sort of mulling over after the monastery.
I feel quite chill now, to be honest.
Yes, so do
Should we
I.
wrap it up?
Yeah.
Right, that is it for this podcast. Thank you for listening, as always. And we're off to wander aimlessly around this water feature
Recreate the magic.
for the next 4 hours. Thank you for being on my podcast.
Of course.